Hey, welcome back to the shop. I'm wrapping up one of my quick winter builds, just something to throw in the back of the car to fly at a park, and came across a little piece of hardware that I thought I'd show you some tips on, the Micro Aileron System. To get started, just want to share a couple of things with you that basic things you'll need as you go. You're going to want some needle nose pliers, as well as some maybe heavier gauge wire cutters. Small ones, probably not the best idea, but I'm going to use these medium-sized ones. Obviously, you want your micro aileron system itself, and you're going to want something to cut with, some tape. I'm going to use some hinge tape here from Dubro because it works really, really well. A marker of some kind and a small screwdriver. I also would recommend you pick up some extra .032 music wire. This music wire is going to be used as our push rod, and if you have runs that are a little bit longer than what's supplied in the kit, I recommend this side because it's the same size that's been supplied in the kit. You can pick this up from most local hobby shops, but otherwise you'll have to find a source on your own. To start off, I'm going to show you a quick trick that I use. I built this airplane, and I'm not going to be using the Easy Link connectors that are supplied in the kit. These are the little metal pieces right here. But the trick that I'm going to show you is a modified Z-bend. Rather than showing you how to make a modified Z-bend on a tiny gauge wire, I'm going to show you on this larger gauge so that you can get a better visual reference. It's pretty straightforward. You just take your pliers, in my case some needle nose pliers, and you just make a 90-degree bend. From there, you'll rotate and get that bend within the pliers as well, and make another 90-degree bend. And that's really all there is to it. The way that you can use this is really straightforward. So if I had a regular Z-bend, I wouldn't be able to put this into the control horn here because I would be poking through the wing. But now I can put this into the hole for the control horn and rotate it into the hole. Sometimes you need a little bit of persuasion too and get some grip to rotate it, and it'll snap right in. Just like that. And so now I have a set length for my control rod, and I'm ready to begin installing my micro aileron system. So when you get the package, always keep the product card handy, because the product card gives you the basic instructions that you need. You're going to be measuring things, you're going to be cutting things, make sure you have some eye protection on, some standard glasses. If you wear glasses, will probably be sufficient, but if not, I definitely do recommend you get some safety glasses if you're going to be cutting any of the wire. These can shoot off and can hurt you. The basic diagram shows you where we're going to be using these bent rods with a sleeve, and we're going to be connecting those to our push rods that I just demonstrated. Let's get all the materials out of the packaging, get them organized, and I'll show you how all of this is assembled. All right, with everything out of the package, the first thing we're going to do is take our easy connectors. These are not going to be used, like I said, so I'm going to assemble these so I don't lose the screws, and I will set them aside. We do have a Dubro 101 video for how to install and use these, so make sure you check that out. So this is essentially what we're left with. We have some plastic pieces here that are going to slide onto our control pieces for our aileron. We have our link stoppers and some other pieces of wire and some plastic tubing. Let's put this together and I'll show you how it works. So the first thing we need to do is we need to measure the length of wire that we desire. So how do we determine that? On my model, we're going to be putting the aileron linkages right here. We want to be able to get the linkage close to the fuselage so that our geometry is maintained as accurately as possible on both sides. And being able to do that here rather than have control horn sticking out on the ailerons like this is preferred. So that's what we're trying to do. We want to measure essentially this length right here. So the next step is to take the plastic tubes and to cut them to that same length. So we're going to use those as bearings for the wire. So we're going to take the plastic tube and cut it to our 2.5 centimeter length. In our case, since we have 2.5 centimeters, we can use one tube rather than cut two sections off of two separate tubes and save this for a rainy day. All right, so now we have what we're calling the bearing tubes. The bearing tubes are going to take the load from where the wires rotate. The wires will rotate inside this, per this diagram. So now we're going to slide the tubing onto the wire. We'll do that for both sides. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up in a mirror configuration so that I complete one set of wires for each side. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bend a 90-degree into these wires. Once I bend the 90-degree and get it onto the airplane, you'll see exactly why, but let me get the 90-degree bent first. For this bend, I'm recommending that you use some needle nose pliers. You want to make sure that this is as close as you can to the bearing, but you don't want it to crush the bearing itself. So we're trying to bend straight up. It's pretty good. Not exactly right, but good enough, I think. We'll do this one too. All right, so we have both of these bent up. All right, so the next step is we're going to move these onto the plane, and we're going to figure out how much excess length we need to trim off of these. With the model situated here, you can see I've positioned my tubing roughly where I need it to be. It's pretty close, but from here, what I need to do is figure out about how much I want to cut off, and I'm going to use a Sharpie marker, a fine tip Sharpie marker to mark that. I'm also going to mark where I need to cut off here as well. I don't want this wire to stick past the trailing edge of my control surface. So using my work mat, I'm just going to measure and cut off 2 centimeters. Okay, so before we do anything else, we want to make sure that we have our connections assembled so that they're ready to go. Because of how flush I'm going to mount this close to the fuselage, it's going to make things tricky. I'm going to have to use tweezers or needle nose pliers, and it's just a lot easier to do the assembly before it goes onto the airplane. See how I struggled with that screw? And I want to show this on purpose because I've done this so many times. There are 2 different types of screws included in the packaging. These screws, which are for a flat screwdriver, do not go long enough into this tiny hole that is going to slide over top of the pin. Save yourself some aggravation and make sure that you use the correct screws. So I'm going to get this screw out of here. I've brought back my Easy Link connectors, and you can see that these screws are longer a little bit, but I need a different screwdriver. A 5/64 hex head or Allen key will do the trick to get this screw in here. Now at this point we have our hardware mostly set up. Let's get these tiny screws along with my Easy Links out of the way and get ready for the next step. All right, so before we final install these on the airplane, we want to basically roughly set, not fully set, but roughly set where our hardware is going to reside. So what I'm going to do is, again, refer to my work mat here, and I'm just going to get that roughly centered in the middle on both of these. We're going to tighten these a little bit, not fully tighten them, but snug enough so that I know that they're not going to move just by bumping them. So we're basically set at this point. There are some additional fine things we're going to do as we go, but this is the main assembly. The idea here is that as you have a push rod pull on these or push, it's going to rotate within the bearing tube, and this will rotate your control surface. I hope that makes sense. Let's get it installed on the airplane. All right, so keep in mind here that we have a couple of things we need to accomplish. Number one, we need to make sure that our bearing tube is squared up with the rotation of the control surface. There's a line that the control surface will make, and you want the bearing tube to be in line with that. You don't want to be at an angle like this, otherwise this piece will want to move as the control surface deflects. So keep that in line, and then on top of that, we're going to have an issue with interference on the fuselage, so we want to rotate that ever so slightly as well. And then we're in pretty good shape here. The next point is we're going to take a small piece of tape, just some masking tape. This is temporary. And we're going to tape this into position just so that we can set our rough length of our push rod. This is again done with a marker, and then we'll make a 90-degree bend outward. Let's cut off the excess. Now we can remove our temporary tape, install the push rod into the plastic clevis, and then reposition the bearing tube in place. I'm using my hinge tape here to secure the bearing to the wing, and I'll also use some to secure this rod to the control surface, the aileron in this case. And now we will rinse and repeat on the other side. Okay, so now that we have everything connected and hooked up roughly in place, we need to secure our push rods to the clevis connectors. And we do that with these plastic clip-in style easy links. They're pretty straightforward in that you just press them in and they clip into place. I'll show you how that works. Okay, so once you get this hole with the control link on it, you're just going to rotate it down and you can clip it in place with just a pair of needle nose pliers. Or your finger. Fingers work too. All right, so from here you can see that we have a little bit of a centering issue, and that's pretty well resolved just by bending the wire a little bit opposite of the direction that you need until you get it to center. And you can continue to do that. Try not to do it all in one go. These smaller models, you're more likely to break the model if you try to do it all in one go. Little bits at a time, and then you'll be set. All right, so next we're going to check to make sure that our control surfaces are moving about in the same amount on both sides. To do that, you'll have to get your own battery and install that and make sure that it's connected to your receiver and your radio. I highly recommend, if you're working on an airplane or anything that has a propeller, remove the propeller. That way you don't hurt yourself. It's pretty easy on this one, but otherwise you would just remove it from however it's secured. But on this model, it's pretty easy. All right, so with our airplane plugged in and everything powered up and safe, we're just going to briefly wiggle the sticks here. You can see my throws are pretty big. We can dial those back, but really what I'm looking for is to make sure that they, for the most part, are moving in the same amount in both directions. You can measure this with a ruler, and the way that you would adjust if they're not is by sliding these up and down. Once that's final, then you can tighten these all the way so that they're set for flight. As a final note, I want to make sure that you are reminded to frequently inspect these points. If at any time you question the tape securing your bearing or the tape securing the end point onto your control surface, replace it immediately. This is a safety issue that could mean your airplane is not stable or controllable. And so we don't want to hurt anyone or anyone else's property. And that's part of safe flying practices to make sure that your model is ready and safe for each and every flight. Frequent inspections, do them. All right, so I hope that's helped some of you understand how to install and use the Micro Aileron system. It's very straightforward, but sometimes the little bitty parts can be fumbled, and I can't tell you how important it is to work over a proper work surface. Use a mat of some kind, even a small towel, so that if the parts land, they'll have a place to not bounce to. And follow the instructions on the card. It's very helpful. We include them for our Dubro products because they are helpful. So follow them step by step and follow along with this video, and you'll be able to have success every single time you go to work on any of your models. Until next time, make sure you check out Dubro.com for all of your hardware needs for all of your models.